morning. Today is Saturday, March 21st, and we'll be reading Deuteronomy 3 and 4.
Let's see, where is it? 3 and...
Come on. I need that.
Oh, we have 4. Very good. Are you ready?
I want to.
You're 4 too. Are you ready, Catherine? You have yours?
Reading page 246.
Thank you.
248.
46?
200.
Oh, okay. Those 2 pages.
248.
All right.
All right. Chapter 3, King Og defeated. Then we turned and went up to the way of Bashan, and Og, the king of Bashan, came against us, he and all his people, to battle at Eldrei. Then the Lord said to me, do not fear him, for I will deliver him and all his people and his land into your hand, and you shall do to him as you did to Sihon, king of Amorites, who lived at Heshbon. So the Lord our God delivered Og, the king of Bashan, with all his people into our hands also, and we struck him down until there was no survivor remaining. We took all his cities at that time. There was not a city which we did not take from them, 60 cities, all the region of Argob, the kingdom of Og in Bashan. All these cities were fortified with high walls, gates, and bars, besides a great many rural towns. We utterly destroyed them, as we did to Sihon, king of Heshbon, utterly destroying the men, women, and children of every city. But we took all the livestock and the spoil of the cities as plunder for ourselves. So at the time we took from the hand of the 2 kings of the Amorites the land that was across the Jordan, from the river Arnon to Mount Hermon. The Sidonians call Hermon Syrian, and the Amorites call it Sinir. All the cities of the plain, all the Gilead, and all Bashan, as far as Selka and Eldrei, cities of the kingdom of Og in Bashan. For only Og, king of Bashan, remained of the remnant of the giants. Notably, his bedstead was a bedstead of iron. Is it not in Rabbad of the children of Ammon? It is 9 cubits long and 4 cubits wide, according to the cubit of a man. Division of the land. This is the land which was possessed at the time from Auror, which is by the river Arnon, and half the hill country of Gilead and its cities. I gave to the Reubenites and to the Gadites. The rest of Gilead and all the Bashan, the kingdom of Og, I gave to the half-tribe of Manasseh. All the region of Argob, with all Bashan, was called the land of giants. Jair, the son of Manasseh, took all the region of Argob, and that is Bashan, as far as the border of the Geshurites and the Maacathites, and called the villages after his own name, Havoth Jair, as it is on this day. I gave Gilead to Machir, to the Reubenites, and to the Gadites I gave the territory from Gilead, even as far as the stream bed of the river Arnon, half the valley as the border of the river Jabbok, which is the border of the Ammonites, the plain also with the Jordan as the border, from Kinnereth as far as the east side of the sea of the Arabeth, that is the Dead Sea, below the slopes of Pisgah. Then I commanded you at the time, saying, the Lord your God has given you this land to possess it. All you men of valor shall pass over armed before your brothers, the children of Israel. But your wives and your little ones and your livestock, for I know that you have much livestock, shall remain in your cities, which I have given you, until the Lord has given rest to your brothers, as well as to you, and until they also possess the land which the Lord your God has given them beyond the Jordan. Then each of you shall return to its possession which I have given you. Moses forbidden to cross the Jordan. I commanded Joshua at the time, saying, your eyes have seen all that the Lord your God has done to these 2 kings. So shall the Lord do to all the kingdoms where you pass. Do not fear them, for the Lord your God, he shall fight for you. I pleaded with the Lord at your time, saying, O Lord God, you have begun to show your servant your greatness and your mighty hands. For what God is there in heaven or in earth that can do according to your works and according to your might? Let me, I pray, go over and see the good land that is beyond the Jordan, that good hill country in Lebanon. But the Lord was angry with me because of you and would not listen to me. And the Lord said to me, enough of that. Speak to me no more of this matter. Get up to the top of Pisgah and lift up your eyes to the west and north and south and east and see with your eyes, for you shall not cross over this Jordan. But charge Joshua and encourage him and strengthen him, for he shall cross over before his people, and he shall cause them to inherit the land which you will see. So we remained in the valley over against Beth Peor. Chapter 4. Moses commands obedience. Now therefore listen, O Israel, to the statutes and to the judgments which I am teaching you to do, so that you may live and go in and possess the land which the Lord, the God of your fathers, is giving you. You shall not add to the word which I am commanding you, nor shall you take anything from it, so that you may keep the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you. Your eyes have seen what the Lord did at Baal Peor, for the Lord your God has destroyed from among you all the men who followed Baal of Peor. But you who held fast to the Lord your God are alive to this day, every one of you. See, I have taught you statutes and judgments, just as the Lord my God commanded me that you should do so in the land where you are entering to possess it. Therefore keep and do them, for it is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. For what nation is there so great, who has a God so near to it as the Lord our God, in all its things whenever we call on him? And what nation is there so great that has statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law which I am setting before you today? Only give heed to yourself and keep your soul diligently, lest you forget the things which your eyes have seen, unless they depart from your heart all the days of your life. But teach them to your sons and to your grandsons, especially concerning the day you stood before the Lord your God at Horeb, when the Lord said to me, gather the people together to me, so that I will let them hear my words, so that they may learn to fear me all the days, and they shall live on the earth, and so that they may teach their children. Then you came near and stood at the foot of the mountain, and the mountain burned up with fire up to the midst of heaven, with darkness, a cloud, a thick cloud. Then the Lord spoke to you out of the midst of the fire. You heard the sound of the words, but saw no form. Only a voice was heard. He declared to you his covenant, which he commanded you to perform, even the 10 commandments, and he wrote them on the 2 tablets of stone. The Lord commanded me at the time to teach you statutes and judgments, so that you might do them in the land which you are crossing over to possess. Idolatry forbidden. Give good care to yourselves, for you saw no form on the day that the Lord spoke to you in Horeb from the midst of the fire, lest you corrupt yourselves and make a graven image for yourselves, in the form of any figure, the likeness of male or female, the likeness of any beast that is on the earth, the likeness of any winged fowl that flies in the air, the likeness of anything that creeps on the ground, the likeness of any fish that is in the waters beneath the earth. And beware lest you lift up your eyes to heaven, and when you see the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the host of heaven, and are led astray, and worship them, and serve them, that which the Lord your God has allotted to all nations under the whole heaven. But the Lord has taken you and brought you out of the iron furnace, from Egypt, to be to him a people of inheritance, as you are ready. Furthermore, the Lord was angry with me because of you, and swore that I should not cross over the Jordan, and that I would not go into that good land which the Lord your God is giving you for an inheritance. So I must die in this land. I shall not cross over the Jordan, but you shall go over and possess the good land. Watch yourselves, so that you do not forget the covenant of the Lord your God, which he made with you, and make yourself a graven image, or the likeness of anything in the Lord your God has forbidden you. For the Lord your God is a consuming fire. He is a jealous God. When you produce children and grandchildren, and you have remained a long time in the land, and you corrupt yourselves and make a graven image or the likeness of anything, and do evil in the sight of the Lord your God to provoke him to anger, I call heaven and earth to witness against you today, that you will surely and suddenly perish from off the land that you are getting across the Jordan to possess. You will not prolong your days on it, but shall be completely destroyed. The Lord shall scatter you among the peoples, and you shall be left few in number among the nations before the Lord, where the Lord shall lead you. There you will serve gods, the work of men's hands, wood and stone, which neither see nor hear nor eat nor smell. But if from there you will seek the Lord your God, you will find him. If you seek him with all your heart and with all your soul, when you are in distress, and all these things come upon you, even in the latter days, if you return to the Lord your God and shall be obedient to his voice. For the Lord your God is a merciful God. He will not abandon you nor destroy you or forget the covenant of your fathers, which he swore to them. Indeed, ask about the days that are past, which were before you, since the day that God created man on the earth, and ask them from one end of the heavens to the other, whether there has ever been any such thing as this great thing, or has anything like it ever been heard? Has the people ever heard the voice of God speaking out of the midst of the fire, as you have heard and lived? Or has God ever tried to take for himself a nation from the midst of another nation, by trials, by signs, and by wonders, and by war, and by a mighty hand, and by a stretched out arm, and by great terrors, according to all that the Lord your God did for you in Egypt before your eyes? To you it was shown, so that you might know that the Lord, he is God. There is no one else besides him. Out of heaven he let you hear his voice, so that he might instruct you. And on earth he showed you his great fire, and you heard his words out of the midst of the fire. Because he loved your fathers, therefore he chose their descendants after them, and personally brought you out of Egypt with his mighty power, to drive out nations from before you greater and mightier than you, to bring you in to give you their land for an inheritance, as it is today. Know therefore today, and consider it in your heart, that the Lord, he is God in heaven above, and on earth below. There is no other. Therefore you shall keep his statutes and his commandments, which I command you this day, so that it may go well with you and with your children after you, so that you may prolong your days in the land which the Lord your God gives you forever. Cities of refuge. Then Moses set apart 3 cities across the Jordan toward the east, that the manslayer might flee there, that is, anyone who killed his neighbor unintentionally without hating him in the time past could flee to one of the cities and live. Bezer in the wilderness, in the plateau of the Reubenites, and Ramoth and Gilead of the Gadites, and Golan and Bashan of the Manassites. Introduction to the law. This is the law which Moses set before the children of Israel. These are the testimonies and the statutes and the ordinances which Moses spoke to the children of Israel after they came out of Egypt, on this side of the Jordan, in the valley over against Beth Peor, in the land of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who lived at Heshbon, whom Moses and the children of Israel struck down after they had come out of Egypt. They possessed this land in the land of Og, king of Bashan, the 2 kings of the Amorites, who were across the Jordan toward the east, from Aroer, which is by the edge of the river Arnon, even as far as Mount Sion, that is Hermon, with all the Arab across the Jordan to the east, even to the sea of the Arab under the slopes of Pisgah.
Deuteronomy. Bye. Have a great day. Please subscribe.
Okay, there's one thing I wanted to say. Now, look at this. Daddy bought this. Daddy bought that when we were at the Ark. That's 1 cubit.
1 cubit.
Now, that giant was 9 cubits. His bed was 9 cubits long. That's 9 of those. That's going to be taller than the ceiling. Significantly taller. That was that one giant. So that just helps give you a visual
One.
right there.
2, 3, maybe 4 if you're lucky to see them. So twice as much.
You get that visual?
Yes. Almost a little higher than the roof.
No. It's like more than double.
From here to here, that's 4. If it was 9, it's that much more plus a little more.
So it's going to be like double and then
probably get all
an
the
extra one. About.
Maybe not upstairs to the roof.
Well,
Maybe.
maybe.
I forgot. We have 2 stories. Bye. Have a great day.